Hello, everyone. I am Esther, and I'm the food editor for the Record, NorthJersey.com. And unfortunately, I'm not coming to you from a lovely, swanky restaurant in North Jersey, but instead my bedroom in my home, of course, because of the pandemic we're going through. But I am so glad that today we are going to be talking about the future of restaurants, because I can't wait to go back to a restaurant, and I want to know what I can expect. And to talk about the future of restaurants, I've invited three amazing restaurateur chefs to join me. And we will start. I want to introduce you to Anthony Bucco, who is the chef and partner, right, of Felina in Ridgewood, a very contemporary, modern Italian restaurant that hasn't yet opened. He's not doing takeout or delivery, as some restaurants have done during this whole time that I'm going through. Plus Chris Cannon, who is the owner. Where's Chris?
I'm right here.
Hello there, Chris. Chris Cannon. Hello. Chris Cannon, who's the owner of Jockey Bar and Kitchen in Morristown, which, if you haven't gone to, is this amazing space with is it four
Yep.
different
4 rooms.
restaurants, or yeah. And we have Ariane. Hello, Ariane Duarte. Where are you? Hello there. Who is the chef and owner of Ariane Kitchen and Bar in Verona. There we are on the food crawl. And so and Ariane, you do takeout now, right? Takeout and delivery.
We just started last weekend.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
We just-
And Chris, you started Mother's Day, right?
First day back in the building with staff today, so we all have our masks, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
try to take care of ourselves and everyone.
Okay, we see. Very safe.
Yep.
Very safe. Okay, so here's the thing. Whenever I talk to anyone or read about restaurants, what I hear is restaurants are never going to be the same. Never. And I have no idea what people are talking about. I don't understand that. So here you are. You're here to help me out. I hope you brought your crystal ball with you so we can look into the future. Short term, once you are able to use your dining room with whatever capacity, what do you foresee? What is that going to look like? Whether that's in June, July, unless you can guess when that'd be, that would be helpful too. But Anthony, I'm going to start with you.
Thanks.
Short term, what do you see?
Well, I think the initial kind of return to restaurant dining is going to be in obviously a greatly reduced capacity. So occupancy inside restaurants will obviously be down. What percentage that is, at this point has not yet been determined. I do think that, depending on the municipality, depending on where you're doing business, I think that there could be some pretty creative ideas that allow maybe an expansion of, downtown Ridgewood. Maybe there's an expansion of some sidewalk opportunities for restaurants to kind of use outside dining as a way to kind of offset what they're losing in terms of interior square footage and occupancy. I think, there will be a necessity for some to-go programming just based on the sheer lack of revenues will be down. So we're going to have to be very creative as operators to determine how and what we can do to kind of maximize our ability to stay in business.
Right. And do you guys all agree? Do you have something to add to that? Ariane, what do you think?
No, I totally agree with what Anthony just said. I feel the same. We do have outside dining, so we're thinking about, maybe adding restructuring it a little bit differently, maybe getting rid of some of because we have more of a loungy area, maybe just adding more tables. Because we will, I think one of the most things we think about is the revenue that we're going to be bringing in.
Right. And Chris?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you want to
Well, I had a problem. I couldn't hear Anthony, so I had no idea what he said. But
you didn't miss much.
We are going to, obviously, for the next few months, we're going to be doing glorified takeout and home catering. We're going to sell groceries. We're going to sell flowers. We're going to sell wine. We're going to, I would sell me if anyone paid money for me. But,
I'm saying once you're able to open up the dining room in whatever capacity, what is that going to look like?
Well, obviously, there's the health concerns, and I would imagine that we're going to be at 25 to 50% to begin with. We have an outdoor seating area as well. We also are lucky that we're such a large space that taking out 50% of the seats or more won't really affect us too badly. I mean, obviously it's going to affect us badly, especially on a Saturday night, but during the week when we wouldn't have been fully busy anyway, it's not going to make much difference. I've already contracted to buy plexiglass dividers. They can move around the restaurant, putting plexiglass dividers at the bars, at the tables between parties. We have a pergola outside. We're probably going to curtain off tables outside so that people feel that there's a sense of, separation. We're going to do everything we can to make the customer feel that they are safe and comfortable coming to Jockey Hollow. Obviously, staff is going to be wearing masks, and we're going to be disinfecting like we were before the shutdown regularly all over the restaurants. In particular, door handles all over the restaurant. Tables will be cleaned down after every shift. We also have all of our menus and wine list on your iPhone, so we won't even need to put out menus. We can just ask people that they use their iPhone to look at the menu, and it's up to them to clean their own device.
Chris, I have a question. Do you really feel that the plexiglass is going to be, I understand, yes, for health purposes, but do you think it's something that we should all be thinking about in the restaurant?
Well, I think it's important to create an atmosphere, an environment for the customer where, they want to see that we're taking it seriously. And I think
Gotcha.
I think it's something that I'm thinking about it, because I believe that, we want to show that we're leading from, we're leading the pack in terms of really being concerned about how people feel in the space. And if they feel comfortable in the space, they'll come back more often. You'll probably
Yeah.
So, in the short term, it's a small investment. It's, they'll probably be price gouging on the whole thing, but, I'll try to figure out how to get them, cheap. And
Right.
So you see your staff wearing masks and gloves throughout.
I think it's not
period?
it's not a burden for them to wear a mask and gloves. I mean, it's like, I don't think, it's what everyone. I mean, listen, everyone's getting used to it. I mean, everywhere you go now, you see people with masks on, going into every store with a mask on. So I don't think customers aren't going to be uncomfortable being in a restaurant with a mask. And obviously, when they're eating, they're going to have to pull it down and eat and do whatever. But
Right.
I think that people are, especially by the time we reopen, which will be probably July, everyone's going to be so used to all this stuff that it's not even going to be a real problem at all.
Well, what about your kitchens? I mean, you can't, as far as distancing, the kitchen isn't going to allow you to have 6 foot distancing.
We're also, because we're so big, we have 2 kitchens, so we can totally separate people. We have 1, 2, 3. We have 5 lines. 5 lines to produce, so we can totally have 6 foot separation between everybody.
What about you, Anthony? What about you?
Same at Felina. I mean, one of our challenges is we obviously have an open kitchen, so our kitchen is essentially part of our dining room. And I think from that standpoint, we have the ability with having our back event space kitchen that we can kind of offset the amount of people within that area that we can kind of social distance with responsibility. In the open kitchen, obviously, everyone will be, just like everywhere else in the establishment, everyone's going to obviously adhere to all of the standards and, going above and beyond as we've done in the past. I mean, restaurants are probably one of the safest areas. I say that a well-run restaurant is probably one of the cleanest experiences you can have for dining, just based on everyone's obviously knowledge of sanitation practices and security. I think this is something that's really highlighted the need to really be proactive. We're in the process right now of getting all of our staff ServSafe certified, which is a standard in Ridgewood, but now also encompassing front of the house, bartenders, servers. I mean, it's important that everyone kind of understands how to not only take care of themselves, but our guests. There is a lot of concern with seeing a staff in masks. I mean, hospitality is defined by a smile, a warm greeting, but there is obviously an understanding that we have to be, above and beyond that. It's making sure that people are safe and secure. But it's frightening to think about, sitting in a high-end dining room with somebody serving you in masks and gloves.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree. Because I mean, you think of that as somehow sickly, right? And you're going to a restaurant, to forget all your cares and woes, and you don't want to think about illness, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I guess what you're saying is you think that it doesn't much matter. We're going to be used to it, and we're just going to. I want to ask you one thing. Do you think people are going to rush to come in? Do you think you're going to get the clientele?
I think it's, at the beginning, there'll be some reticence, but I think the minute there's any kind of vaccine or any kind of, prophylactic or whatever, medications that they have coming out to help the virus, that people will come in fairly quickly after that. To begin with, of course, I think there are going to be people that desperately want to get out of their houses and desperately get out of cooking at home 7 nights a week.
Mhm.
And I think if they feel comfortable in the space and they feel that they're safe in the space, that they'll come out. I mean, it's not stopping them. You go to, Whole Foods, it's pretty packed with people. I mean, they're doing that. And if we're showing Whole Foods and Wegmans, they're wiping down the checkout.
Yeah, I guess you could argue, but the Whole Foods is more necessary, kind of. You have to go shopping for food.
Oh no, we're necessary. Come on.
Well, I believe that too.
And you have to, laugh. You have to laugh, and you have to hug. Well, not hug each other anymore, but you have to laugh and discuss and talk about, the people over there, what they're wearing, and all that stuff, and and do what we do, which is social. And people are social beings, and it's not going to change. This is not going to change that. People are going to be the way they are for
Okay.
1,000 years.
Yeah.
Can I ask you, all three of you have bars? What do you see there? I mean, bars, you sit next to each other. Are you thinking of removing chairs or what?
I think that we might even have to take reservations at the bars.
Yeah.
You're going to have party of two, party of four, and then separate them and do what you want. But yeah, it's going to be hard to just have. I don't think people will be very comfortable going to a walk-in bar where people are just piling up at the bar. So I think for us, we're probably, because they are limiting our seating by 50%. That we can add the bar seats as seats to eat and dine as your own integral party. It's not my dream of doing that. Normally I would let people just walk in, but in this period, I think it's a way that we can get enough people in, make them feel safe at the bar, and do what we need to do to keep us surviving, and do what the public needs us to do to make them comfortable.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Ariane, you too?
Yeah, definitely removing the seats. I love the idea of probably taking the reservations at the bar. We're also, what we are doing too is just gonna, just because I don't have a large kitchen or bar area, we're gonna make the menu a lot smaller than what it is. Because this will eliminate staffing, which in my kitchen is important, because I usually am cram-packed with a lot of staff because we have a menu that needs it. However, I'm just reinventing who I am right now in my menu design. So.
Okay. And Anthony, what about you?
Well, to Chris's point, I think the value of utilizing the bar from a dining standpoint, I think, is going to be really the most effective use of it. And to his earlier point, he's right. I mean, short of Fridays, Saturdays, and some Thursday nights, the realities of the restaurant world in New Jersey is, you can probably adhere to the social guidelines and still be, business as usual. The Saturday night, losing that bar crowd is obviously going to be a shot to the system. But the reality of creating that as opportunity for additional dining could be amazing. And I think it's more of an effective use of the bar, especially as we move into the next 90 days. I like the idea of Ariane, and it's something that we've discussed internally, of revisiting our menu matrix. Just to make sure that, obviously, in addition to everything else, I mean, let's be honest, there's going to be a shortage of certain ingredients. And more importantly, with reduced volume in your dining rooms, it's going to be, on the operator and the responsibility of the operator to make sure that we're controlling costs. So I do think that there'll be an abbreviated menu across all fronts in most restaurants, just based on just the sheer need to kind of be conservative with spend. Okay.
So that is short term, right? Anything else you see short term? Obviously, you are going to continue the takeout and delivery during that period. It's Anthony, not you, because you're not doing it.
Well, again, it's subjected. We have to see what everything looks like. Dates are obviously important. When deliverables start coming across and we're able to kind of get the restaurant up and operational, we'll make more of a decision then. I mean, I have an incredible amount of square footage at Felina between our event space, which unfortunately is probably going to be dark for the foreseeable future, and the restaurant. So for me to kind of come in here, if I can look at revenues and it makes sense to that point that we need to get above and beyond, then a to-go program and a progressive one at that makes a lot of sense for us. But until we start getting some activity in the dining room, right now it's probably not in our best interest. On top of that, Ridgewood community that has about 60 restaurants within 1 square mile of my front door. Most of those restaurants historically have made their money on their ability to serve people at home through to-go programs and delivery. When everything started to kind of hit the fan in terms of economically and obviously from a health standpoint, I was concerned with obviously playing in a circle that included additional competition or creating competition for somebody who's been doing this for their, the lifeline of their business. And right now, truth be told, the way that our organization is built, we could stay back on the sidelines. So as things start to come back and there's opportunity and opportunity makes sense and presents itself for us to do a to-go program, we'll visit that again.
Okay, great. Now I want you to look at the future. So now let's say there's a vaccine. Let's say we're over this. We're really over it. What do you see as that future? What are restaurants going to be like, in a year from now or so? I know. How are they going to, what are the changes when they say they're never going to be the same? What are the real changes?
Well, I think for me, if I'm actually embracing the idea of a smaller menu, maybe for me being a little more casual since I've been fine dining for so long. So I'm envisioning, AKB just being a really casual, fun spot, and obviously hoping that it is jam-packed again.
Why casual? Why more casual?
You know what? I think it's just right now I'm doing a lot of burgers, and it seems to be what people want. My area is filled with a lot of Italian. Just something a little different that we don't have here. My food. So I'm seeing that I have 3 burgers right now, a halibut and a pork chop. Nobody wants halibut. All I sell is burgers. It's a little crazy. And some great salads and really great salads. And I see, and pigs in a blanket. I mean, people, that's what I'm seeing. Yes, will I still be doing my food? I will, but I think it's just going to be in a less casual atmosphere. And I think too, people have just kind of relaxed in a way in this time off. People aren't dressing up and putting their makeup on, and so I don't know if that's going to continue. But for me, that's how I see, and I see a lot of outside catering for me. I was a caterer for many years, and I said this the other day. I said maybe it's just something we start visiting, is doing outside catering.
And that would be because?
Just because I don't know, I just think that people are going to still be doing a lot of things at home.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. And Anthony, what about you?
Well, I completely disagree with Ariane. I still wear makeup every day. Otherwise, no, listen, there's a lot of value to what she's saying, and I think everyone will approach this from a unique standpoint. Obviously, the last 45 days have taught us that there are going to be a lot of behavioral changes in the way that people both entertain themselves, social environments that are obviously impacted. I think that this has proven that a lot of people don't have to go to work anymore. They can work from home. I think this has proven that schools and everything else has changed. Our life as we know it is changing essentially every day. And the further and further we are away from an opening date, and the further and further we are from when everything was essentially shut down, I think the more behavioral changes that are going to happen. I think that restaurants serving the communities as they have and have always done, regardless if it's Sandy, whatever the case may be. I think the one thing that I see in the future, and again, understanding current economic conditions, understanding all of those things, I actually see a return to a higher level of dining. And the reason I say that is I think the one thing that we've done from a conditioning standpoint is we've been able to kind of bring what we do at our restaurants into people's homes. I think for us, as we look towards the future, I think it's about elevating the experience almost in a way to kind of make the restaurant trip more of something that has a little bit more substance. And when I say that, I mean understanding that there's so much that goes into a dining experience in a restaurant at any level. I think it's the bells and whistles, and I think it's the ancillary and sensory items in the restaurant that are actually going to be enhanced as people are looking for their 1 or 2 nights out a month, you know, where right now it's 1 or 2 nights a week. I think that there'll be less activity in the restaurants just based on obviously the increase in DoorDash and Uber Eats and all of those things, and the restaurants themselves doing their deliveries. So I think that the trips to the restaurants will have to be made more special. And I think that that's something that I think is to kind of keep an eye on as we move into the future of dining. And again, like I say, this isn't tomorrow that we're going to go to elevated white linen tabletops and all of those things, but I do think that there will be a return to higher end dining.
And Chris, do you agree with that?
Yeah, the problem is I can't hear Anthony, anything he says. So give me a recap. What do you say?
Oh, so he actually sees dining getting more elevated. He believes that people are going to seek a way better experience than what they can have at home.
Okay.
And so that is going to be the attraction of going out. And if they don't go out, you know, as often because of DoorDash and Uber and all of that, they will go out because there's going to be something there that's more than.
Okay. No, I agree with him. I've been in this for 40 years. I've been through the 1988 stock market crash, 2001 with 9/11 in New York, 2008, and doom and gloom was predicted every single time. And for instance, after 9/11, in September, October, we registered our largest profit margin for a month in the restaurant I was working at the time, and business was 100% back to normal. It was not a problem. This is obviously a little more of a serious crisis, but once there are, you know, the vaccines are in, people are going to want to go out again. Unfortunately, in the sector as a whole, the restaurant industry, I believe there will be some retrenchment. I believe there's going to be, sadly, a lot of bankruptcies and a lot of restaurants that go out of business. But in the last 20 years, the market has been a complete glut of restaurants. There have been too many restaurants. And so, you know, I think that it kind of needed a culling to a certain degree. But I believe that the future of, you know, fine dining is still there. Maybe the sector will shrink slightly, and you know there will be delivery services and etc. But I think it's going to be healthy. As far as we're concerned, in the long term, we are looking at this opportunity to build a takeout business as something that it will be integral in our future to expand the business. We believe that it also allows us to diversify the business so that if something like this were to occur, we have a very well set up, streamlined operation where we do a lot of offsite catering. So that's kind of where we are with it.
So you're seeing fewer I'm sorry, Ariane, did you say something? I'm sorry.
No.
Oh, no. So you're seeing fewer restaurants in the future because you think basically those that weren't all that good aren't going to make it anyway, and that's okay because we just had too many restaurants, and too many people went into the industry because it seemed like it was the cool big thing to do, but not because their hearts were really in it.
Yeah, well, the press is doing a good job for us of scaring people away from the industry. I mean, they're telling everyone that the profit margins, you know, have shrunk from 15, 20% 20 years ago down to under 5% now. They're saying, you know, that doom and gloom is going to keep people from actually jumping into the business in the future, which, you know, the remaining restaurants should theoretically have a larger customer base to feed them. You know, but we know also that the market has been completely and utterly saturated just by the fact that we have a hard time finding staff. I mean, especially kitchen staff. I mean, there are not enough cooks to go around. It's been a real problem. You know, you could talk to Anthony about that. I mean, you know, every chef in New Jersey sits there and calls each other and just moans and groans about, you know, God, I can't find anyone to work in my kitchen.
Right. And Ariane, were you going to say something? You think you're going to go more casual than high end?
For me, and I think, I don't know, and I say more casual because I am a little casual, but I still, it's not like I'm going to be, come in your flip flops and guinea tea kind of like casual.
Yeah.
But I like to think, our cocktail program will still stay elevated and as wonderful as it is. I still want, I think when I say more casual, I think my food, but I still want the atmosphere of what AKB is, that will remain the same. So I guess that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do we see crowded bars and crowded restaurants in the future again?
Of course.
I hope. Yeah, absolutely.
And do we see almost every restaurant, no matter how high end, having takeout?
Probably.
They're currently doing it.
Yeah.
And you think that will continue, except for Anthony?
We'll see. Like I say, when we get there, we'll get there.
But
Well, when your phone starts,
I'm sorry.
No, when Anthony's phone starts ringing and they want to take out, it's
Times now.
well, see, they're missing you. They're missing you.
Well, guys, I really, really appreciate this. I think it was informative. I know I can't wait, no matter what the restaurant looks like, no matter what you're serving, because I know it's all going to be terrific. And I wish you all great luck and stay safe. And again, thank you so much.
Thanks,
Thank
Esther.
you. Great to see everybody.
Take care.
Same here.
Bye,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.